Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada, and I am here with a very special new moon in Leo reading. So let's get started. So I took a very much needed hiatus, and well, we're back. A lot's going on right now astrologically. There are very many retrogrades that we're starting. So I believe we're currently in the Saturn retrograde, and we are in the Mercury retrograde. I believe we're also going to be entering a Pluto retrograde, if I'm not wrong. So, a lot of changes. We're going to be starting with the Page of Pentacles, which is actually very perfect to start this off. At the bottom of the deck, we have the we have the Eight of Swords, we have the Six of Wands, we have the Knight of Pentacles, we have Death, the Ace of Swords, Judgment, the Hierophant, the Sun, the Moon, the Emperor, the Queen of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. We're going to stop with the Devil. So, many repeating cards that we've had in other readings, so let's get to it. Starting off with the Page of Pentacles. Now, the reason why my commentary on the retrogrades and how it's very fitting when we have the Page of Pentacles in regards to this is because we are now at a new moon, right? We are, if you've been with me long enough, you should already know by now that new moons are where you set your intentions, where things are brand new. And then on top of that, it is in Leo. We're just entering Leo season. And the Page of Pentacles is a key indicator here that there's a lot of change that is going to be coming. But this change is about you at this time embracing something deep within you that you have yet to embrace, right? It is a time for truly expressing yourself, truly going for what you want. Now, the Page of Pentacles, as you see here, the way that it is represented in this image is that there is someone that is stretching, they're opening up, they are exposing themselves in a vulnerable manner in which they are ready to receive, right? They're ready to receive knowledge, they're ready to receive new information, things that are going to help them succeed. Now, this is the Page of Pentacles, remembering that a page is someone that is learning. This is something brand new. There is growth that is happening here, which is that indicator of someone stepping into a brand new job, a brand new skill, a brand new venture. I was trying to think of the word. There is something new that you're learning. And because it is a page, and because it is Pentacles, this is something that it's in regards to resources. Learning something new in order to acquire new things. Now, we do have the Eight of Swords, right? Now, the Eight of Swords, following this Page of Pentacles, does seem kind of daunting. However, it is also followed by the Six of Wands. This is just a review, a refresher kind of, where the Eight of Swords does discuss reminiscence of like difficulties, of struggle, of issues having been faced in the past regarding, you know, how do I want to say it? Because it is a swords card, and swords has to do with air has to do with communication. The Eight of Swords can be interpreted in many different ways. Here, this image is displayed as someone who has been put in a stage of submission, and they are surrounded by swords. They have been put in this place by harsh words, by harsh critiques, by others' influences, others' verbal influences, which have kind of limited you in many different ways. And we've allowed those commentaries, those negative commentaries, to keep us in this state of submission for a long time. Either it could be because of fear of the fear of not being able to prove someone wrong, or proving them right, or having that negative narrative that's still stuck in your head. And yet we have the Six of Wands. Now, these two together kind of paint a picture for me, whereas you may have had many ambitions, you may have had many dreams, and all these negative narratives from others may have kept you down, and yet they still keep you down. Meaning that those little voices that is stuck in your mind, while those people may not be in your life, those negative voices still repeat in the head. And this Six of Wands shows that there have been dreams that you've had, a lot of dreams, and you may have tried stepping out and achieving these dreams, because this image is the image of Icarus. Now, Icarus, if I've told the story of Icarus before, that it is a Greek folktale in which Icarus is warned by his uncle not to fly too close to the sun. Icarus becomes overambitious, strives for the sun, their wings melt, and they plummet to death into the sea. Now, you could see here that story being played out, those ambitions being so high, wanting to achieve all this, and yet these two are paired together, right? Now, following these two, this is just, like, again, a refresher, a review of things of the past. Now we are following the Knight of Pentacles, which is a step up from the Page of Pentacles. This has been a learning, this is what proves it has been a learning experience, right? A learning experience in which it comes into levels. The levels of having been taught one way, having to unlearn those ways, and then having to relearn what's best for us. Now, this has not been an easy transition because we are met with the card of death. So you see here, death is, it looks very seductive right here, right? Death does not inherently mean death. It just means the end of a cycle. That's all done with, right? That is all done with. All this is in the past. Now, remember, this is a new moon. When you set your intentions for the things that are coming forth. Now, as it is a new moon and you're ready to set these intentions, you might be finding that you have old things popping up, which winds up happening a lot, especially during a Mercury retrograde. And Mercury also has to do with communication. So there might be a lot of feelings, conflicting feelings within you, because this new moon is actually calling you to go within yourself, and it's birthing something new, because Leo has a lot to do with passion. Very proud, very flamboyant, very out there, and that's not a bad thing. So there's a lot of conflicting feelings right now. So considering that this is a Mercury retrograde and this is a new moon, one of the things you have to take into consideration is learning how to change that narrative. So remember, you're allowing the death of a cycle of unlearning something that you were taught before to relearn something that's going to benefit you for your betterment, for you, not for anyone else, but for you. Now, with that being said, what follows the death card is the Ace of Swords. Again, swords being the air element, the element that reinforces communication. Relearning how to communicate. Communication is key. So, when we have the Ace of Swords, we have the Page of Pentacles, we are leveling up, right? And so you can say, hey, you always talk about leveling up. Yes, because leveling up doesn't mean that you're at a bottom level. No, leveling up is just encouraging of change, which is why death is here. It's the encouragement of change because change is constant, whether you like it or not. I'm not a huge fan of change, but I also have learned, I have unlearned and relearned that change doesn't stop for anybody. Time keeps going whether we like it or not. And that is reinforcing that change is inevitable. We can sit here and hope that nothing changes, and yet we still grow older every second. Change is inevitable. So, as we understand that change is inevitable, and we have to accept and embrace that change is inevitable, we must be able to roll with those punches, go with the flow, and one of those flows is learning something new, right? Let's take advantage of what gifts we do have. And one of the most powerful things that you have is your breath. And if you can use that breath to voice your communication skills, the better it's going to be in the long run. So, in learning how to communicate, we're going to learn how to set an intention, right? So, I've said this before in the past. Once you set an intention, the whole idea is you don't keep wishing for the same thing over and over, because you're sending out a signal to the universe that they're not meeting your needs. But it could be that you're not making those clarifying statements of what it is that you want, right? So, for example, you can't go and make a manifestation list of the intentions you want to set with, I don't want this, I don't want that, I know I don't want this, I don't want that. You can say what you don't want. What the universe needs to hear is what you do want. And you have to have the confidence within yourself enough to say, yes, this is what I want. Because a lot of the times we are uncertain if that clarifying statement is truly what it is that we actually want. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have 2 days as of this is being recorded. It is currently Tuesday. So when this gets posted, chances are it'll be Wednesday, you'll be ready for Thursday if you are on Los Angeles Pacific Standard Time for the new moon to set your intentions, right? And you set your intentions for the 2 weeks that it becomes the manifestation time of the full moon. So, and even if you don't have your intentions set by the new moon, you have time to work on how you're going to verbalize your intentions for them to manifest in 2 weeks. So, working on those communication skills. Think about what it is that you truly want. It doesn't matter what you don't want. What do you want? Are you certain that's what you want? If 5 years comes to pass, will you be happy with that decision? Take that into consideration. Now, the reason why I say this, why it's very important on working what it is on what you want, because I know that some of you may think that's what you want, but I can kind of tell that you're still unsure. And the reason why I know this is because we have the Judgment card here. The Judgment card is telling you to start working on becoming truly vulnerable with yourself to see if that's truly what you want. Now, a lot of the times when it comes to judgment, we have family, we have friends that hold a lot of space in our lives, and sometimes the decisions that we make them unhappy. And yet, despite making them unhappy, if we try making them happy, we are unhappy in turn. So you need to come to terms with what it is that you truly want. Does it sincerely align with your life? Will it align with your life in 5 years, in 2 years, in 1 year, in 6 months, in 20 years? Will it truly, and granted, things happen where we take a step forward, we take 2 miles forward, and we realize that it's not truly what we want. There's nothing wrong with that decision to change your mind in a span of time. Set that span of time realistically. So a lot of the time, I say 5 years, right? And yet we're working towards 5 years because in hindsight, a lot can happen in a month. A lot can happen in a week. A lot can happen in 1 day. Set a realistic timeline. Set a realistic timeline for 6 months. We're in July. We're technically 1 month after the half-year mark, right? We're closer to the end of the year than we were to the beginning of the year. From here to December, what do you truly want to accomplish? Is it truly what's going to make you happy? There was an end of a cycle. We're now beginning a new one because remember, we're starting the new moon, a new lunar cycle, a new month. Here is the end of the last lunar cycle. It's completed. Now we're starting a new one. Time for discerning what is it that you truly want for yourself by the end of the year. Okay? July is almost over. We're now entering August. And from there, it's only 4 months before the end of the year. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to manifest in the next 4 months? Now, we have the Hierophant here. The Hierophant, as you can see, is depicted with the face and head of a sun. The sun is an ideal, always the full-on happiness card, right? But the Hierophant also signifies structure. Structure, a type of hierarchy that has to be followed, steps. With that, and then, of course, they hold the world in their hands, right? So, ideally, if you were to restructure within these 4 months what it is that you truly would like to manifest, utilizing your best judgment, what would truly and wholly make you happy within the next 4 months? What would truly and wholly make you happy? What is it that you want to achieve that will make you happy? Now, with that being said, we're followed with the Moon card. Now, with the Moon card, this is another indicator of going deep within, right? So utilizing your better judgment is really going within, and learning how to trust your intuition, right? A lot of the times, like we'll say, what would truly make you happy? Winning the lottery. Okay, do you play the lottery? Do you buy the Super Lotto tickets? Do you buy scratchers? Do you, like, let's be realistic here. And that's why the moon is here. The moon has a lot to do with going within. It goes, like right now it's the new moon, there's no light of the moon, right? You may see the outline of the moon, but you don't see the moon, the reflection of the sun's light on the moon at all. That's why it's called the new moon. You don't see it. That is when you are meant to go within the darkness of yourself, within the darkness of the moon, within the darkness of night. You are going to the deep, deep depths of yourself and getting to know what it is that you truly want within. Because a lot of the times, many people, having been put down the majority of their lives, having had their dreams shot down so many times, they become pessimistic or they become cynical when it comes to what it is that they truly want, right? And so when we have the moon and we are learning to restructure our lives to communicate what it is that we truly want, one of the things you want to take into consideration is that there's always a little voice inside that screams something out. Let's say, for example, my joke of, I want to win the lottery. But do you play? There's follow-up questions. Okay, let's say I want to have a good job. Okay, and what are you doing to get that good job? Are you applying for the good jobs? Are you looking for the good jobs? Are you following up with calling the companies after you submitted an application? Have you networked? Like for example, let's say you're trying to start your own business or you have started your business, but you need to like network. There's an entrepreneur networking event that's going to be happening sometime this month, I believe. And so, are you going to that? Are you like reaching out to people within the same like community, within the same field, within the same like type of business and trying to collab? Like, what is it that you're doing that this little voice is shouting out to you or is whispering to you? Like there's a little something there, which is why I'm saying, or have mentioned in the beginning, there are passions that are wanting to be released, right? There's something different. And that's why the Page of Pentacles is here, because it's a stage of being vulnerable, right? Being at a beginning stage is a very vulnerable point in our lives, where when we want to change something, the universe will push you to it. You've got to have the strength and courage, especially since we're in Leo season. You got to take that strength and courage from within that's hidden to take those steps forward and not allow those negative voices to overpower us and push us back into submission, right? Now is the time. You can achieve what it is that you want. There's a lot of relearning that has to be done, a lot of restructuring, and it can be done. It just takes that voice from within and for us to actually be real with ourselves. That's why the moon is here. The moon is here because it is reminding us that it's not just listening to that little voice, but encouraging it to have the strength to speak up, to achieve that emperor level that we've been wanting to achieve this whole time, right? An emperor becomes an emperor with support. Now, we have the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands is someone who is very passionate, someone who's very determined, someone who is secure in what it is that they have achieved and are not willing to part with what it is that makes them happy. Now, you have a choice because we have the Two of Pentacles here. The Two of Pentacles is a balancing act, right? Now, that's not, the Two of Pentacles is that reminder to not put your eggs all in one basket, but to learn how to balance that sustainable life that you currently are living while trying to achieve that dream life you're trying to achieve. It's a balancing act. You know, it's trying to make things work. And as you can see in the background, there's stormy seas, but this acrobat here is not paying attention to that. They're focusing on what they need to focus on. Now, following the Two of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Swords. Now, mind you, we bypassed a lot of different sword cards here between the Knight and the Ace. The Ace is brand new. The Knight is someone who has learned a little bit more and has moved forward. You are on your way. Now, this balancing act is not without its difficulties, because we are following the Devil card. Now, the Devil card is not anything new in the past few readings that I've done, but there's someone with bad habits that they're kind of hard to break. That's why the Knight is here. The Knight of Swords is a knight is someone who is constantly working on their craft. The Devil is someone who's constantly giving into temptation. And of course, we have the balancing act. Temptations will be there, and I'm not saying that you can't give in to temptation in moderation, but yet if you are a slave to your temptations and your bad habits, you'll never achieve what it is that you're working so hard for. That's why there's this balancing act and why we have this storm in the back, because it's a constant struggle with you. It's not a constant struggle with me, it's a constant struggle with you. And that's why this is a repeating story plot in almost every reading that I do. And I don't read for me. Not in these readings. These readings are for you guys, not for me. So, what bad habits are you letting take over? So, just gonna leave that there, so you guys can ponder that. I think I said enough for like nearly 30 minutes. So, moving on, Mighty Fates, what additional lesson do you have to add to this reading? Oof. These already came out. Okay. We have versatility, and we have the Pillar. So, let's see what they have to teach us. Versatility. Pulling this card may indicate a time where you're coming up against a lot of resistance, whether internally or externally. A lot of times we focus on one thing very intensely and push hard despite being shown that the timing is off. What can be helpful in those situations is to move on to other things so that the energy is freed up and you can go back to it when the timing is right. This card teaches us to be flexible and go along with what is being presented to us, even if it may not be what we want. Rather than trying to force things that are not ready, it may also indicate a need for approaching the situation differently. If you don't feel it is about stepping back, examine how you can shift what is already there. All right, so moving on, we go to the Pillar. The Pillar. The Pillar signifies a need to rise to the occasion. It indicates a time where we may need to be all things: the backbone, the nurturer, the provider, the lover. The Pillar asks you to step into these roles as best as you can, knowing that you are being pushed outside of your comfort zone. You will learn just how capable you are. It is a time where we take our gifts to new heights and learn that our perceived flaws are just that, perceived. If you have been resisting a new opportunity or role that has presented itself, it is time to step into it and trust that you will learn as you go. It is also a time where our container grows. We learn just how much space we can hold for ourselves and for others. Continue to listen to yourself, fill your own cup so that you can be there for others, but do not forget to push yourself. A balanced pillar energy is being able to wear many hats, to hold space for family and community, but doing these things with empowered boundaries. It is placing your personal well-beings and needs first, knowing that your service will be better because of it. An unbalanced pillar can go a couple of ways. In an attempt to maintain all control, one can get domineering and manipulative. On the other hand, they may find themselves becoming codependent, where their identity gets wrapped up in the need to caretake others while forgetting about themselves. A couple of unbalanced pillars out there. If you find yourself in the shadow of the pillar, ask yourself, where can I soften? Where can I put up boundaries? What are my personal needs? And how can I go about meeting those for myself? Go within to answer those questions. Now, let's end with the animal spirit guides. The dove spirit. The dove spirit. Be peace. With her peaceful cooing, the gentle dove spirit invites you to embrace the energy of peace and allow compassion to warm your heart. You always have the power to generate peace within you. And the appearance of dove spirit is a reminder that today and every day is a good day to meditate, to quiet any turbulence within as you embody tranquility. Above, below, and all around you, much may be happening to distract you, but you are called to engage it with the heart of a peacemaker, asking yourself, what would peace do? Can you agree to disagree? The peace you seek rises within and spreads out into the world as Spirit sends her messenger to remind you of the beauty of a harmonious existence with all that is. How beautiful and powerful is your compassionate heart. However, disturbed the waters are around you. However troubled your heart, Dove Spirit is there to remind you that peace without begins within, as you reconnect with Spirit through practices that awaken you from spiritual amnesia. Your true nature is as a peaceful child of Spirit, but how easily you forget. You're being invited to sit in the cozy, safe nest of Spirit. Soon the waters will become still and you will feel peace again. Be compassionate with yourself at this time. For all of us can forget that peace is always at hand, always there, gifted to us by Spirit. Become the peace you wish to see in the world so you can reduce any suffering, performing acts of kindness and radiating love. Dove Spirit also reminds you that when you see inequity or someone harmed or in need, trust that you have the capacity to bring peace through smiling, sending love, speaking a kind word, and listening with a compassionate heart. Do your part to be a peacemaker, nourishing compassion, reminding others of the joy of harmonious coexistence so that they may embrace the Dove Spirit within themselves too. Now, it kind of seems like this doesn't match, but it does. Because remember what the pillar spirit was telling you. The pillar lesson here of the differences when you are working from peace is because you're not pouring from an empty cup, right? Being there to support others. which is what it was talking about in regards to the balance pillar. Something to strive for. And if you're unbalanced, remember those questions you got to go within to answer so that you can reach that peace. Well, I sincerely hope that this message helped, and I'll see you guys next time.